All right, welcome back to another episode of After Hour with Traders. This one is a little weird because neither Andrew or Brian are here. Andrew is in Morocco running an ultra marathon, and Brian is in Egypt. Both of them are in Africa, coincidentally. But we are with Thor Young. Welcome back to the show, friend of the show. How you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, brother? Thanks for having me back. Yeah, man, everyone's like, I saw this cool picture of Brian like in the sarcophagus or whatever, doing the whole thing. I mean, it's pretty incredible, living the life.
You know, the craziest thing was he actually met a member in Egypt, and they took a picture together and posted it on Twitter. Did you see that picture?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was incredible. It's like we got members all over the world.
Well, I figure now that he's been in the sarcophagus, he's actually a real prophet. Now, not just the prophet of prophet. He's probably been endowed with some kind of like powers now, right?
Yeah, we were just talking about it in the chat room today. We were like, the ceremony has probably happened. You know, he went inside the pyramids,
the Illuminati and the Indiana Jones people, and
exactly. But like props when props are due. You, Jared, Megan, you guys have been killing it in the open. Congrats on that. I mean, members are loving it. How has it been? Does that impact your trading? Like, we all know who you are as a trader, but like, just trading in the open with all those eyeballs on you, would that impact your trading or not really?
Oh man, huge.
Really?
I have to give Andrew just the biggest props on this, because he comes in every single day throwing the trades up there. He'll throw his P&L up there, just good, bad, ugly, whatever. He's gonna give it to you, and that is so amazing. And even for us as mods, when we get put in that seat, it's you want to live up to kind of that, and sometimes it actually creates almost like a performance anxiety, like there's not really even a trade to take, and you're just, man, I just want to trade because I'm like ready to trade and I want to show people some trades. I'm not a momentum trader, so I actually kind of stink in the first 5 minutes. So but it's hard because I'm sitting there and I want to take trades for people, and you got the screen up there, you got the arrows, and I normally don't even trade with arrows on my screen. So
yeah, you were saying that, and that was really interesting. You were like, hey, I see these arrows, they mess up my psychology, and I have to do it for you guys, and it's putting so much pressure.
I have to turn them off because someone commented in the chat, they're like, hey, I noticed that you keep shutting the arrows off. What's going on there? And I was like, it's me. I kept wanting to partial. Because I was holding, and it's getting further and further away, but not nearly as fast as I want it to. So it creates this. It's almost like a greed kind of thing. It's the other direction. Like you've got money in the till, you got to take it, but every winter you got to hold it as long as you're supposed to. If not, that next trade that's a loser will be offset, by your lack of ability to hold this one winner. So for me, to help alleviate that, what I'll do often is I'll take my arrows off the screen so I can just watch the technicals of the screen, make decisions, but not necessarily be hyper-focused into these two little tiny triangles that define my future, basically.
No, exactly. Yeah, and that's tough. Like sometimes I have a winner, like a winning trade, and I trade options, so like it's mostly weekly. And like on Monday, or let's say on Wednesday, it's making money, it's in the green, and I'm like, I'm not gonna close it because I'll close it on Thursday so I can show the members, hey, look how much profit I made, and then it goes belly up, right? So that psychology, it's really important.
Well, and you like me, since we kind of have to show people what we do, it creates this other element where you're like, man, I want to show them a pretty picture. Of what I did, and fortunately, and a lot of people say, hey, how have you gotten so consistent so quickly at trading? And it's like, well, I have, a few hundred people that at any given time would admonish me greatly for doing anything that's not within my rules. So the accountability of having an entire chat room with you, is quite nice actually for that.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty awesome. But yeah, you guys have been killing it. Megan's has been a great addition as well in that half an
Megan's
hour.
A rock star, man. Not just her cooking, which she is amazing at, but just, the personality that she brings is a real factor. And the way she trades, I like how she does that. So she's been an amazing Ed. We have our average Joe. We have Ed Martin on the other side in the jungle, man. I mean, that guy actually has had a really big impact on my trading lately, seeing him doing that. And, I've been holding some of my holds longer because, I see this guy doing it and I'm like, well, I can't let Ed do this. Not do this, right?
No, he's killing it too.
So we got some great core moderators here, man. And you're killing it, man. Everyone's loving the options. VBT, I feel like, is finally kind of becoming more of an options house, which we've never been before.
Yeah.
But now that we've got like you and Jared, especially, we've got a lot of options traders starting to come in now, and you can see it's getting really popular. A lot of options, especially even for guys like me. Like, I don't trade options yet, but I'm learning from you guys, and it's helping me make decisions on where I think we're going to go in the market. Like, even Ed uses an option scanner, even if he doesn't trade options. So, I mean, just the knowledge just from everybody, all the moderators, it's just awesome.
It's definitely expanding. And speaking of Megan's so competitive, and that's why she's like sitting at trading. Is like, she was like, oh, we gotta beat Thor. I'm like, yeah, whenever Thor comes on the show, we get like 4 or 5K views. She's like, oh, we're gonna beat Thor. So I don't think no, man, you're still at the top. I don't think she was able to beat the views, but that's
the only one. Who gets me is still Norm in pre-market show. I don't know what's going on with pre-market show. I can never get like 250 likes in pre-market show, but Norm can get like 400 every day. I even showed up one day doing a Norm impersonation that, although hilarious, did not work either. So.
Oh man, that's hilarious. Gonna like today, it's midweek. Of course, market's been crazy, but I thought, with Andrew and Brian away, is a great opportunity to kind of talk a little bit more about you. I know you got big stuff coming in 2022, might be even your biggest year. Like,
for sure.
First, let's start with the transformation of your health and the workout and the fitness journey. We're gonna put some pictures you send us in there. It's truly inspiring. Like, kudos to you. How has that been? Like, has that impacted your trading? Who really inspired you? Like, what's going on? Fill us in.
So it's been kind of this like, wild thing. So like on my birthday last year, which I sent you a picture of me actually in my birthday in New York hanging out with Andrew. I sent you a couple pictures. And I was up a couple pounds. Stuff's had been a little wild, and especially with kids and stuff. And I had just kind of let life get away from me and had just kind of stopped focusing on that aspect. But what I realized is that lack of focus and that had permeated into every aspect of my life. I realized that I was finding excuses not to to get where I needed to be in many different areas, right? So, and it was just, they actually have this term called the halo effect, which, this is an older term of it, but, and I know we've got some of our mods, have talked about that a little bit during the psych times, which just, talks about how as you improve one thing, it just kind of trickles down, other things start to improve.
Yeah.
Well, what really happened was I was hanging out with Andrew, and and everyone's having, this guy just has this zest for life. He just he's out doing his I don't necessarily like you and Andrew, I don't know if I want to go like run any mountains or anything like that.
Not me. I'm more of a beach body, but no, Andrew.
Next time you come to St. Augustine, you hang out with me on the beach. How about we do that next time?
Exactly.
Okay. So but it was that, and then and it was the same thing with my family life too. Like, my wife had actually started making big changes in her life to get a lot healthier, but I hadn't followed with her, so there was just like a lot of stuff going on in my life. And then all of a sudden it just like one day just kind of like made a decision that this has to change, something has to do it. But then what I found, which was really cool, so the thing that really like I got into, and I put a picture of I sent Artie a picture of my home gym too, but you'll see in the middle of this thing called a light boxer, and it's basically like a boxing bag with lights on it, and it does music, and they have like little trainer courses, and that gave me at least something to be interested in, and as I started doing that, it was just so hard. But then as I started to overcome these day by day by day, all of a sudden just the improvement just really started drastic. But then all of a sudden I realized like I was now doing this in other areas of my life as well. Like I noticed all of a sudden my trading was becoming much more nuanced and much more precise. Although I have less time now than I did before I started working out, somehow I've managed to write the majority of a book. You know what I mean, in the midst. But, it's my life has not gotten simpler. If anything, with kind of my daughter having some issues and other stuff, life's been a lot more complicated. Yet, the drive, and the energy to do all of these other things, and so I've done that. And that's really trickled down to a lot of other things. And so when I was at at that birthday party on that trip to New York, I hadn't weighed for a while, but I know I was north of 270. So now I'm 6'2", so that's like not horrible per se, yeah. But now I'm at around 205.
Wow.
So, I'm down right around 70 pounds probably since I started, and that's been in only about, since my birthday's July. So, and I probably didn't go right after that. So, let's just say less than a year. Which it just shows my main takeaway from this, and I want to give it to anybody, whether it's trading, your health, or anything, making a decision today, 1 year from now, can benefit you in ways you could never possibly imagine, right? Like your entire life can turn around and be amazing 1 year from now. And for all the traders, especially like if you're like not clicking yet, right? And things haven't happened yet for you, and you're a little like, man, this isn't working. As you develop these different things, and you'll kind of hit this point where you'll say, hey, just be willing to give it that year. One small step was my grandmother said this, but you guys have probably heard this before. It's slowly then suddenly, right? You just make small changes today, and it ends up being a major drastic change tomorrow, and it just ends up being way faster than you thought. So
yeah. It's that power of compounding. You do a little thing, you don't see the result, but in a year you're like, holy. I was just talking to Andrew right before he left, and I'm like, hey, let's plan a US meetup. And it's like, maybe again for Thor's birthday. So who knows? Yeah, maybe this time in Florida. It would be awesome. I'm gonna be there this time. So
hey, I tell you what I can do. I already got a connect down here. I'm ready for you guys. So if we get to all go on that, I can certainly get something put together pretty quick. But if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it in Orlando though, and we'll go big.
Let's do it.
I got a data provider who will come in. I want to do a trade with the mods. So whenever we do it, so on we'll have everyone on a Friday. I want to get a ballroom and bring in direct internet access, so anyone can come and sit on the floor and trade.
Like a real trading floor. That would be like amazing. Yeah, that would be. Come on. That would be fantastic. Yeah, can't wait. I
already have the data provider. I'm ready to go. We were gonna do it before, and then the COVID thing, the getting from Canada to the U.S. got too complicated, so we had to bail because it just wasn't working. So we can get it fired up anytime. Hey, everyone on the YouTube deal out there, like, subscribe, comment, throw us the comments. If you want BBT meetup with internet connection, trade with the mods, tell me what you want. Get more likes than Megan.
Yeah, definitely. If you guys, if you reach, what's a good target, Thor? Maybe 500 likes that will make the meetup happen. What's a good target?
Yeah, I like that idea. Yeah, absolutely.
500 likes and meet up in Orlando and a room full of traders.
We'll present it to Andrew and say the people have spoken.
Exactly. He has to put it on the credit card. It has to happen. Now that TNA is coming back as well. So you mentioned
we'll hopefully cover that now.
It should. He was trading SPXL and made a huge profit. And Norm and Mike were here, and I said, you got to take care of us now. So we went to a really good restaurant, and he paid the bill. So no complaints there. Exactly.
Nice. That's right.
You mentioned working out has actually give you more time to work on a book. We know the book is almost done. What's the update on that? And we cannot wait to read it, of course.
Oh, thanks, man. So, I always knew that I wanted to kind of write something. I just never thought I would, because I never really thought I would gain proficiency on a topic that people would be interested enough in. But basically, I've kind of over the past, let's say 5 years total of my, day trading journey from first thoughts to now of doing it. I've really kind of weeded through just about every guru style system that's out there, and I present based upon obviously what works best for me. I found a lot of reliability and consistency in some pivot related strategies. But really, it's not the pivot related strategies. It's also, I've had the opportunity to, spend a day at, on the NYSE with market makers, learning about their process, and, a whole bunch of other just great opportunities that, being friends with Andrew has given me the opportunity of speaking to people. Being a moderator at BBT has had, I've spoke with market makers in bond markets and, all other kinds of people. So it's really been this very unique concept. And as I, looked into that, I started to realize that what they were talking about compared very heavily to my experience in markets, but in a different way, which is I grew up in the country around auctions and around markets that exist. But since both auctions are based upon supply, demand, and value perception, there's some really hard comparables there. So, the book teaches you about a trading system that uses pivots, but it's more than that. It's really, it's a where, when, and how system. So it shows you where to look for trades. It uses tape reading and volume and price analysis to get you, kind of tuned into when it's time to take that trade. And then it has a whole section on risk management and psychology that helps you, deal with how to manage the trade, not just the trade itself, but the trader as well. So it's really everything that I've kind of put together in myself over the past 5 years, brain dumped into one spot.
Amazing. Like for anybody, like it's not as simple as, hey, this was a R4 breakout, so let's just go along. Like there's so much nuance and like complexity in it. And like just to put all of that into one book, it's definitely amazing. I know a lot of members are waiting for it. Congrats for doing it. Like I wrote my book. I know it's a lot of hard work. Like from outside, It looks very easy, but it's tons of hard work. So kudos to you. It's getting it's the last touches, right? It's getting edited right now, so maybe in the next few months.
It's in editing now. So when it comes out, we're still tossing around some title ideas. Still not 100% on that. I got one I really like, but we'll
Pivot
see
Boss. How to become a pivot boss.
No, that already happened. They already got that guy, but. I really like, for me, I look at day trading as being more of like an art form than that. And that's the big difference on this book versus just about every book you're going to find out there. Like there's some really good volume books out there. There's some really good pivot books out there. There's some really good price action books out there, but none of them are really made for day traders. Almost all of them are actually designed around long-term strategies or swing trading, or even intraday swinging, where you're buying very early in the day and selling very late in the day. But this book is specifically designed around multiple strategy sets that handle the bullish market, bearish market, or choppy market. So it gives you kind of a way to play just about everything, but it's based on real fundamental stuff. It's based on range and value. We play the extreme ranges when we're coming back into value, or the extreme ranges when we're breaking away from value. That keeps us out of the chop. Or when we are trading chop, we're trading from the high end of chop to the low end of it. So it allows us to stay out of like what Ed Martin, for instance, would call like a kill zone, right? So we use these, but we use price open position. We use volume and price analysis to really dial into how good the market making process is going. I have an entire chapter devoted completely to the market making process and explaining what's going on there, and so you can kind of read that. It's tape reading. If you don't understand what the market maker is doing, you're not going to be able to read tape. It doesn't matter that the price is lower when it comes across the tape. You're not going to know why. So that's why we I compare back to that on that. But I'm really hoping it'll become, at least for anyone who's interested in pivot trading, I'm hoping it'll become your principal go-to resource for anything pivot related.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, can't wait. And it's really interesting you said Like sometimes there's a lot of good literature by like academics or people who know this stuff, but you preach it every day. Like you're the one actually trading every day. So coming from your perspective, it's like a lot different. It's night and day. So we can't wait.
The main reason, Artie, and you'll know this, there's a restriction that day traders have that swing traders and long-term traders don't have.
Exactly.
And that restriction is time.
Yeah.
Right. I'm a real day trader. I do not swing, so I swing trade at all. So I'm liquid every single day. So if I'm in a losing position or a winning position, it doesn't matter. I'm going to close that position out. It's the end of the day wherever I'm at. Right. So I know when I get into a position, I have a finite amount of time that I have in order to realize whatever gains I'm hoping to realize that day. So part of the reason this works where others don't is, I'm actually looking for stocks that are going to move, and that give you that potential within a certain period of time where, other strategies, again, they're going to be based on time frames that are so large, that your risk management isn't going to allow for proper, time frames. It'll take you from 10 o'clock in the morning till 3 o'clock at night to get like a to get a 1 hour move or something like that. And we've already gotten 20 hour by then.
Yeah. Exactly. No, yeah, that's amazing. And R, for those people who don't know, or if you're not a part of our chat room, is basically the risk that the amount that you're risking and how much you're taking out of it. And if you're not a member of our chat room, definitely feel free to check it out. We have like a 1 week free trial you can check out. We'll probably put a link in here, and you're gonna be trading with awesome mods like Thor, Jared, Brian, like lots of knowledge, different styles of trading. So definitely check this out. Man, we covered a lot. Like I wanted to get into some of the stuff that like, one question though, I think it's really important for myself, because I know you mentor traders as well. What is one personality trait that you see that you're like, oh, if this person has this one personality trait, they're gonna make it like right away? Because I know you mentor a lot of traders and go back and forth with them. It's a hard question.
I haven't been able to mentor as many as I wish I could lately, but we do have Thursday mentoring at BBT every Thursday night too, and Artie does a segment during the day. We got Ed does a segment. I mean, we got a lot of mentoring going on during that day. I wish I could do more these days, but in general, the one trait that I really think works for that, if you can do this, I basically feel like I can probably teach you how to make a couple bucks in the market, is the ability to follow rules, is to set and actually follow rules. It's not an ability to, without that ability, you lose almost every other important day trading abilities. Now, and this is a psychology aspect, obviously, right? So I'm not even telling you need to be able to read charts. I'm not telling you need to be able to do anything. This is just a straight psychology aspect. If you have the ability to follow rules, then you can define and create systems. You can evaluate those systems, and then you've got a chance at that point. And I'm not even saying that means you're going to make it. I just think that's going to get you the most way there. Because if you have a trader that comes to me and generically says, "Man, I just don't know what's going on here. I'm not finding consistency," then I can go up to him and go, "Well, what's your average hit rate on your strategy that you're using?" Yeah. And then if he can't answer that question right away, then I'm like, "All right, buddy, I already can tell you where we're at. You're not trading with a plan. You haven't defined your rule set. You don't have a strategy here. We're gambling at this point, right? We're gambling."
Yeah.
Right. So we need to do some hard work here. I need you to sit down, put a plan together. How much money are you willing to risk per trade? How much money are you willing to risk per week? What are your end goals? Start on the big picture and then define in, all right, you're taking this trade. What kind of trade? Where? When? How? You have every single trade that you get into, and that's what the book kind of predicates on, is every single trade you get into, you got to have where you want to take the trade, when you want to get onto it, and how you're going to manage it. If you haven't thought out the process in all three of those aspects, that trade's a gamble. It's your coin flipping.
Yeah.
Not that there aren't some extremely
successful
very
gamblers.
Success for gamblers. I'm just saying that's totally a thing. But it doesn't really matter what trading style you find out there. Basically, every trader that finds himself to be successful will have those three key elements defined within their strategy one way or another. Right, they're going to know where they're looking for a trade. They're going to know what signal triggers that trade to happen, and then they know how they plan to manage it. And if they're not, if they don't have that, I don't know if they're as consistent as they say they are, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because what'll happen is it'll always invert. You'll see those traders, and the reason I say that is because the traders who have the opposite issue, where they just can't find that consistency, they'll do good 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, and then 5th day they blow out 1 through 5 day. Right, that whole thing gets completely knocked out, and that's how you know you're not defining that last key element. When do you stop out? You got to cut that loss, and because if not, that 5th day overshadows all the other wins you have, and you get small wins with big drawdowns, and we want the opposite, right? We want small drawdowns on your bad days, lose as little as possible, and on your big days, get it going, make money.
No, well said. Yeah, so one trade, define your system, know your system. Well said. I see it all the time because like on Twitter, there's all these option traders like 20,000 a day, 30,000 a day. Like my thing is like, hey, let's try to focus on, for myself, like let's try to focus on making $500 a day, $600 a day, and I take pride in that because if I can do it consistently, I know in the long run it's going to be a lot better than hey YOLOing on Tesla options or blah 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 blah, right?
It's always going to get you the other way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna win for you so many times, but this is we like to quote the Dunning-Kruger effect here. But, we just call that the peak amount stupid. You just keep you're going, it's kind of like, bag holding, for lack of a better thing. It's like it saves you a few times when you're day trading. Almost every one of us have gone through it in the beginning.
Yep.
You get in a bad position, so you hold the position and it saves you and you go, oh, thank goodness. And then the next time you do it again, it works, thank goodness. And then the third time it does it, you don't cut it loose, and that one completely destroys your entire account.
Wipes you out. Yeah.
Right. So, and that's risk management is, already mentioned R earlier, risk, that is, you got to cut it. You got to know when to get out of it. And that's the big thing. So yeah, for me, number one thing is rule following. If you can legitimate, I think that's why you see lots of IT people, funny enough, gravitating into this industry.
Exactly.
Because IT people have, which I come from an IT background originally, but IT people are very, very good at rule following, right? But they also are extremely persistent, right? So IT are willing to, we will take multiple failures over and over and over and over again. We will do everything it takes to finally get it to work. So you got that kind of persistence paired with rule following, and I think that falls into day trading quite easily. So you see a lot of those structured, but then you also have, high performance attitudes psychologically do very well. So, I mean, there's, as long as you can find a way to get that rule following in there, you can get a lot going on. I mean, it's cool.
There's lots of potential, right? Like, and we're seeing it every day. Like, Andrew can just take off a week and go do whatever he wants, and that's all because of day trading, right? Like, you guys work a couple of hours a day and that's it, and just, this is the potential is huge. Yeah.
Well, and you showed we were talking about that. There was a picture that Andrew put up on his social media about him when he was like really overweight for him, and he was saying, look at this guy, borrowing money or whatever, doing whatever, didn't have anything. And then look at him today. It's only a couple years, only a few years difference.
Yeah. So at that picture, we're going to put that picture somewhere here. At that picture, he was my age. So I like to think that I'm doing a little better than Andrew was.
Artie's like, hey, I'm not fat, so I mean. Yeah.
Anyway, let's wrap things up. We would love to see you again in Vancouver. Hopefully, again, we will get all the mods together. Any last words? Any last things? We know the book's coming out. Really excited. One trait, if you take one thing out of it, by Thor is define your rules and stick to it, and that will give you a chance to be successful, and that's all you can ask for. Anything else, man?
I'll close out kind of on that concept. So we actually had a really fun Thursday mentoring session. We actually brought in one of our room folks who's a really good scalper.
Right.
And this really like rang true to me because of what you're saying. I always thought I even kind of had a misconception about scalping, that scalping's very fast. Right. But by the time we were done with that webinar or that mentoring session, what I realized was scalping is very, very intentional. And the comparison we used here was a cheetah, right? Like, so a cheetah, when a cheetah goes to, hunt, it's very, very precise. It's going to be very fast. It's going to be very aggressive, but it's going to be very, very precise. Don't think that because something is fast that it lacks precision, right? And that's what I want to give to you all as a day trading concept is Just because the move you're looking for is going to be fast does not mean it lacks precision. Quite the opposite. Because it's fast, it must have precision, right? Swing trading, you can give it $1.50, right? Long-term investing, you can give it $10, right? We're talking a dime. Yeah. We're talking a nickel, right? You must wait, and you must wait for the market to be ready for your move and to get it when that move is ready. That's why you need tape reading. That's why you need to have these defined characteristics for your trading, because if you're intentional, you're the cheetah, you're speculating, you're really making intentional smart trades. If you're doing anything otherwise, you're just gambling. And I promise if you do that, like the cheetah who can't wait, you're going to be hungry. Right. Yeah. So, and so for me, for everyone else, that's my big closeout. And the thing I throw you guys, just no matter whether you're long-term, short-term, or whatever, just do it.
Love the analogy. Just because it's fast, it doesn't mean it's chaotic, right? Like, it's actually really precision.
Quite the opposite. Because it's fast, it's the opposite. It needs to be more intentional.
Wow. Crazy. It's always a pleasure, having you on. Like, I always learn a lot from you, Thanks again for coming. We did have a few hiccups, during this recording. So thanks for bearing with me. Once we figured it out.
My pleasure, brother.
Yeah, thank you. And of course, feel free to like, subscribe to our channel so you see more videos like this. We're going to do interviews like this with all the mods. We're really upping the channels. We got someone who is doing all the lights and all the works on this. So we're really excited for what 2022 brings. Thor, once again, thanks a lot, man. Thanks for giving us the time.
Always, man. Appreciate you. Thanks for having me.
Cheers, brother.